We are so fed up with this. How many more Americans have to die? How many more families will never see their loved ones again, like these people you see in these photos?
All right, so we might have some good news here. It looks like Republicans, they may actually get out of their own way and impeach somebody. Which someone? I mean, who knows? We'll talk about that in a moment. But guys, how bad is it that things are so messed up from the absolute top right to the very, very bottom of the entire Biden administration that they could probably pick blindfolded. You could put on a blindfold and probably come up with somebody worthy of impeachment, really, really, truly impeachable. I mean, that's how crazy it is. It's made even more crazy by the fact that so many people will actually gaslight you and tell you that they think that all these people are doing a great job. And honestly, they should have already been done by now. You know, Mayorkas should be at home, retired. If it weren't for 8 rhino Republicans, you know, most notable to me, Patrick Henry, Ken Buck, Virginia Fox, and the most disappointing, Darrell Issa of California. They delayed a vote and saved Mayorkas essentially, but he'd be a distant memory by now. But anyway, somebody might actually beat Mayorkas to impeachment. And I'll go into that in a second, guys. But first, help the channel continue to grow. This is going to be a very, very important year to get conservative voices heard. And our best way to be heard, do it together. Be together, stick together, and be heard together. So let's make sure we like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. It's just a little bit of effort from you guys, and it goes a long way to making it happen. So here's where we're at. Mayorkas, that is finally picking up steam again. That is looking like it's going to happen. But I think Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is probably going to end up beating Mayorkas to retirement. And apparently, a lot of our representatives, you know, as they should, they're taking the fact that he disappeared to the hospital for days on end without telling his superiors and without properly activating his succession plan, all while the world is literally on the brink of World War III. It's not like this is peacetime. They're taking this pretty seriously. And it just goes to show you, man, these people think that they can do whatever they want. They have, every single one of them have forgotten who it is that they work for. And I don't think they know, even someone like Lloyd Austin. I think they've lost sight of what the stakes really are. Take a look at what we all actually knew and now what we know about the secretary's condition and what he actually did.
Hey, Ainsley, Steve, and Brian, good morning. And Steve, as you point out, let's start with what we know. We know Austin is out of intensive care but remains hospitalized. But what's stunning, guys, about this story is we still don't know what elective surgery started all of this and put him in the ICU, leaving White House officials in the dark for 3 days. As we now know, U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria came under attack 8 times during that period of incapacitation. It brings the total number of attacks since October 17th, you can see here, to 128. Now, Pentagon officials say Austin's chief of staff was notified early on of the hospitalization, but she had the flu and did not pass along the message to the National Security Council. Yet, despite the lack of disclosure, NSC spokesman John Kirby says Austin isn't going anywhere.
I want to make sure I put a fork in my answer to you. There is no plans for anything other than for Secretary Austin to stay in the job and continuing the leadership that he's been demonstrating.
However, pressure is building on Capitol Hill. Republican Senator Josh Hawley says he wants answers.
The idea that the defense secretary doesn't tell anybody he's apparently very ill or was. I mean, I think, you know, we need to know what is this situation? What was the procedure? What's his medical condition now? This is serious stuff.
Congressman Matt Rosendale says this was far more than just a communication blunder, telling Fox News Digital this, quote, Secretary Austin has violated his oath of office time and time again and has jeopardized the lives of the American people, which is why I urge my colleagues to join me in impeaching him to protect the American people. And we are learning, guys, that Rosendale is expected to file articles of impeachment as soon as today. Brian, Ainsley, and Steve?
Right, and the thing that I think is most egregious, you know, you could have a secret surgery, but you got to tell your chief of staff, you got to tell your deputy, you got to tell the president. I mean, my goodness, forget about individuals and parties. What about our national security?
Well, and there's actually U.S. Code 3349, which requires the heads of government agencies like the Department of Defense to notify the government comptroller of an immediate vacancy, which is what this was when he went into ICU, and to notify, as you point out, who was in charge. That would have been the Deputy Secretary, Karen Hicks.
That's right. And the questions now are, was he ever incapacitated? Was he ever out? You know, when the president has gone in for, various presidents have gone in for like colonoscopies or something like that, where they're knocked out for 45 minutes, you know, they transfer power symbolically to the vice president and stuff like that. None of that happened because they didn't tell anybody. But Griff, so what we know for sure is on January 1st, he arrived at Walter Reed in an ambulance, wound up in the ICU. We don't know what the elective procedure was on December 22nd. Do we know where it was done? It wasn't done at Walter Reed, supposedly. Do we know where it was? Because we don't know what they did, but who did it?
No, we don't. And that's what's so stunning, Steve,
Yes.
about this is the lack of transparency. We have learned from NSC spokesman John Kirby and apparently from the spokesman at the Pentagon, Pat Ryder, that, well, listen, the secretary's not going anywhere. This was just a communication blunder, but there is a need to know. And they still are not telling us exactly what it was that started all this, that led to him being sent to the intensive care unit. And so perhaps we'll find out in a Pentagon briefing later today, but this is like pulling teeth on a pretty simple question.
Hey, Griff, I know I heard a story yesterday that one of the former head of CENTCOM, when they lost communication on a plane, was so concerned he landed the plane because he knew he always had to be in communication should a nuclear attack take place or any type of would-be instant decision happen. That's how concerned they are about losing communication, even in flight. That's how bizarre this is. He is not a civilian running the Pentagon. He's a military guy running the Pentagon and a general. Don't they learn more responsible behavior in basic training?
Listen, over the weekend, I interviewed General Keith Kellogg, who is a Fox News contributor here, and he said this is an extremely serious situation for the very reason you're noting, which is it could come to a matter of minutes if Tehran should strike Tel Aviv and we're thrust into something quite more significant than the Houthi attacks that we're seeing right now. And so that is why, as Kellogg puts it, this was a matter of trust and confidence, and we still don't know all of the answers.
It's not like locking your keys in the car, right? There's no AAA.
National security, that Monday night, nobody knew.
Right.
So
We still don't know.
It was disclosed on Tuesday, but he was in ICU. So if something had happened on that Monday night, like you're describing, we could have been in big trouble.
And Griff, we only paid you for 6 minutes. We took 7.5 minutes of your time, so we apologize. We'll put it on the bank, okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah, so you see that. I mean, that is absolutely unacceptable, man. No matter what side of the aisle you are on, that's unacceptable. You cannot defend that. No matter how much you like the guy, no matter how much you think he's doing a great job, that is unacceptable. We had a defense secretary incapacitated long enough for our forces to come under attack 8 times. Literally while his JV team was calling the shots. And the president himself didn't even know. And honestly, that tells you everything you need to know about what Lloyd Austin thinks of this president. I mean, he didn't even bother to talk to him about what was going on with him and that he was going to be out of order while we're getting attacked. I mean, it really, really does make you wonder. And guys, even when he's at his best, American forces have been attacked by Iranian-backed forces 128 times. And we're doing nothing. We're doing nothing but taking it. They still have their money that we unfroze. We're still begging them to enter a toothless nuke deal. We're still placating them in every single possible way. Remind me once again how Donald Trump was a lover of dictators and he was the one who was going to start World War III. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And there's just no explaining it. I mean, there's something's got to be done. Things have got to be put in place based on this. But I thought you deserved to see that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.